Sailing Adventures with Island Girl. Well, today we are going to go over first aid kits. I'm preparing to go to Kathmandu, Nepal in about 7 days, so we are all required to bring a personal first aid kit. Well, first aid kits are kind of personal for each person depending on your needs and wants and what type of, whether you're going to be out at sea, whether you're going to be trekking, altitude, cold, hot. So you have to, each time you travel or do adventure travel or exploration, you have to kind of cater your first aid kit to the trip. So today we're going to go through what I'm bringing to Everest Base Camp trek. I'm going to be gone for almost 20 days, and I'm going to encounter temperatures from 79, 80 degrees down to 0 and minus, really, really cold. Anyhow, so anything can happen in between that time. So we're going to have our kit labeled well, just in case anything happens and everybody has to go digging through your pack or something. It's easy to tell among all your gear what the first aid kit is. So the first thing, you're going to label the outside. Then, since we're going for alpine, we're going to be, sometimes you'll need something like this, but since it's going to be cold most of the time, I don't think I'm going to pack these guys. Instead, this time, I'm going to be packing something like this, all the warmies and anything for your feet, your hands, just to, you know, so I won't get frostbite, or you might have gotten wet, or, you know, need to dry things out. Anyhow, I'm packing lots of these. Also, I'm a big person on antiseptic wipes. I like to pack these, and you kind of think in cold temperatures that you don't need sunscreen, but I am packing sunscreen because you're at high altitudes, the sun is beating down on you all day, even though you do have a hat or something on, but you have to think of all the things that could possibly go wrong. You could trip and fall and have one of your walking sticks go through your leg, or anything crazy could possibly happen out there. So what I'm doing, okay, is I have all these little areas in here to pack things. And so in this one area, I have just tons of little kits for everything, okay? Tons of these little things. And what I have included in here is, okay, sunscreen in case you didn't bring your other stuff, okay? First aid burn cream, okay? Because you probably have to build fires to make all your stuff. Again, antiseptic ointment to make sure before you take care of things. Wound dressing, poison ivy. We don't know what kind of plants are going to be around some of these places. Also, I like to pack Q-tips. Q-tips for anything. Safety pins in case you have to keep something in place. Insect cream, and that's about it. And then I also like Neosporin. That's one of my favorites. But in addition, I have a pair of gloves, nitrile, or, you know, the regular gloves. I have a emergency blanket. This is just to cover people to help not have shock happen to them. Again, when you're trekking, you might want to put some of this moleskin in there for blisters and just soft spots and anything that could happen. This is for wrapping areas that are just, say you have a sprain or anything like that, these are good. Again, I'm bringing lots and lots of the warmies because you're going to cold temperatures. The biggest thing that I'm always worried about is massive cuts. and massive things that happen that the average person does not know how to take care of. You know, the apply direct pressure. I was a career paramedic, firefighter, and so I pack mine to take care of very large wounds, very large bleeds, big things. Like if I have to stitch myself up, I know how to give stitches and how to, you know, do emergency medical stuff. But this is good to have as bleed stop. And what you do, it's mostly, you pour it in the wound, and it's for taking care of big wounds that are, you know, copious amounts of blood. So what you would do is pour this in, and then I have very large bandages, Band-Aids, pads, you know, for any type of major situation where you need to stop the blood fast. But also little gauze pads, all kinds of, just for small nicks, small cuts, that type of thing, butterfly bandages. And I also have tape. I have, in case you like break your finger, you have to keep something in place. It's nice to have these types of sticks for fingers and small things. It's always also nice to have clippers and tweezers to get, you know, in case you get a splinter. But again, these are all for your individual needs for first aid. Also in my first aid pack, I usually keep iodine tabs and the other tabs for taking out the iodine taste in water, because sometimes the water that you're using is not really clean. And I also bring filtration systems and everything like that, but you have to think about what types of things will you encounter out in the wilderness that might be detrimental to your health. So you want to try to pack everything in that you can possibly pack into your first aid kit, because you never know what can happen. And so this is just kind of like a quick thing on what I have, and mostly the stop bleed stuff, which is easy to find at most drugstores. Bandages, definitely. Apply direct pressure. It's always good to have tape, you know, tape things in place. Bandages. Oh, simple little baby aspirin. That's always good, because that can actually stave off a heart attack in some people. But again, it's good to also have some knowledge on basic first aid. But this is what I put on my first aid kit. And also, if you're going to high altitude, or you're going to be doing an ocean crossing or being out on the water, it's good to also have high altitude sickness preventatives. There's some medications that you can get through prescription. Tell your doctor, you know, what they suggest, but there's altitude sickness preventatives that will prevent like pulmonary edema, cerebral edema for very high altitude. I'm talking above 14, 18,000, 20,000 feet for when you're really mountaineering and alpine trekking. And as well as when you're out on the water. You know, if you get motion sickness or seasickness, preventatives. And a lot of these pills that you take, you have to start them like 24 hours ahead of time. So also read up on when you need to start taking these pills and what their contraindications are between other meds. But anyhow, this is what I start off with and what I have in all my kits. Lots and lots of things that I can fit in, and antiseptic wipes, and don't forget the gloves. Biohazards are a big deal. You don't want to end up trying to save someone and pick up something that they had, you know, so it's always good to be safe and not get other people's body fluids or blood on you. So take precautions as you're trying to help people out. and everybody will be safe and the trip will be pretty good. Anyhow, this has been Sailing Adventures with Island Girl, and I'm off to Everest Base Camp next week, so keep in touch and I'll send lots of pictures. Thanks again. Bye-bye.